We're on.
Good evening, friends and family, and we want to thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities. Unfortunately, our guest, Brother Yoel, was not able to get his devices working properly in order to come on our podcast tonight. And so we will hopefully be able to get with him on another day because he has a lot of information that we need to hear. He has one of our bookstores here in Chicago. As you know, we only have 3 Black bookstores here in the Chicago area, and we wanted to interview him tonight. But as you know, we come to you every Wednesday night with our podcast, bringing a Black business to you. And why are we doing this? We're doing this because we're trying to help our people to come together. And we're doing this through our businesses because through our businesses, we shop, we buy our clothes, we buy food, we need services, and we have many Black businesses out here. And what better way to circulate the dollar through our community than by spending our monies with Black businesses? And so that's why we started this organization. And so our host, Gregory Sane, had a conflict tonight and he couldn't be with us. But Doris is here tonight with us. And so Doris and I are going to talk about what our organization is about and some things that are very important to our community. So Doris, I'm glad that you're here tonight. I'll let you have a comment here and we'll have our discussion.
Okay, thank you, Niece. And I want to thank the audience for tuning in again with us tonight. I have been away for a few weeks, so I haven't been able to participate. So it's good to be back. It's good to be a part of us trying to continue to build our organization. We started this organization about 2 years ago. In fact, it was 2 years ago this past June. And it came out of COVID. It came out of COVID, and Denise and I were discussing how the impact that COVID would have on Black businesses, particularly Black businesses. And since COVID, over 40, well, there were reports that we were reading, and the reports were saying that 40% of Black businesses were going to be lost due to COVID. And it's evident, you can see it. So that means that it makes it even more important for us to promote and to support and to establish Black businesses. Because with the businesses in your community, that's where most of the jobs are created. Most of the jobs come from small businesses in the community. And as you know, right now, our communities are saturated with everyone else but the Arabs, the Asians, the Indians, the Palestinians. We are a $1.3 trillion consumers. That's how much money we spend a year. And only 2% of those dollars go back to Black businesses. So as you can see, based on only 2%, Black businesses are hurting. And since Black businesses are hurting, Black communities are hurting. And so all of these other people are coming into the communities and they're taking 98% of the dollars out of the communities. And so, again, the reason we organize and establish Repair, Restore, and Grow Black communities is because we need Black business people in our communities, and we need to get this money recirculating. And that's the whole purpose of what we're doing, trying to go build and establish Black businesses and to recirculate the dollar. In the Jewish communities, what eight out of $10 a return, and I think with the Asian community, it's even more. So again, all of our money is going to other people. We are basically consumers, and as consumers, you cannot build a community. You cannot upgrade a community being consumers. So these people take our money and they go to the white suburbs and they establish their communities. And we ride to their communities and we talk about, oh, how beautiful the lawn is, this, the houses, blah, blah, blah. Well, they can do that. You know how they can do that? Because we are paying them. We are
And they
helping them.
refuse, they refuse to spend dollars back with us. That's really what's hurting us. They come in our community, they set up businesses, and all of the dollars go back to the communities that they live in. The dollars go back to the countries that they come from to support their families, which is why we're saying, if we're supporting our Black businesses, our people that own these businesses are inherently going to circulate those dollars. They have family members that they have to take care of and spend money with. They have services that they need, and they're more than likely to donate or contribute to a school. I worked at CVS High School, and we had a program where students in the community could go and get this and get jobs in the community, even some of these students with disability. And it was the Black businesses that were more than likely willing to hire and to help. But the other people have no other interest than to make a dollar. And
And you know
it's,
what?
go ahead.
Go ahead. And you
No,
know,
go ahead.
we've had some of these people in our communities when we've approached them about hiring our young people, and they're
Mhm,
basically saying, how dare you? How dare you
mhm.
ask me to hire your people? I bought this business to pass on to my children. This
That's
is
right.
the arrogance of these people. This is
Mhm.
the arrogance of them. And I'm very passionate about this. And as Black people, we have got to wake up. We're taking care of everyone else. And with this new group of immigrants coming into the country, the Afghans, you all heard what Joe Biden is saying, what they're going to do. They're giving them housing, they're giving them free education, they're giving them free health care. They're giving them things that we have really not been able to get for 465 years. So you,
That's
you
right.
wonder how they get ahead of us? They get ahead of us because these governments, local, state, and national governments, help
That's
these
right.
people.
That's right.
Here in the
That's
city
right.
of
They get
Chicago,
all
Rahm
kinds of
Emanuel
resources.
set up this sanctuary city. They get all kinds of resources. You don't see Black people living on the viaducts, but they have hotel rooms there. So, and that's on us. Not only are we going to have to protest with our feet, protest with our dollars. And that's the bottom line in America. America is a
That's right.
capitalist country. And so without any capital, you can't do anything. A lot of Black businesses can't get loans, not because they don't qualify, but because of redlining, the racism, discrimination, the white supremacy. All of
Absolutely.
that is impacting us today as it did 50, 60, 100 years ago. I don't want to just
That's right.
take over the whole conversation. So I'm going to let Denise come back in because I'll go
No, no,
on and on
no.
and on. But it needs to be said.
Absolutely.
It needs to be said. So
Absolutely.
that's where we are, and I'm really kind of scared now. I'm really kind of frightened because of what I see going on in this country. Is by design what is going on. How is it that America, who has not paid the descendants of slaves the reparation that we deserve, that we should get, how is it that America has not paid the descendants of slaves for robbing us of our wealth? This country got to be wealthy based on Black people working 240 years of slavery, 90 years Reconstruction, and the rest of the years of Jim Crow, and almost like we're back in Reconstruction. This country was built off the backs of Black people, the Asians, the Hispanics, the Indians, the Arabs. They have not fought for one thing. all of the laws that have been passed so we can shop wherever we want to, where we can live wherever we want to, supposedly. All of these laws that they are that have been that they've had access to in terms of affirmative action. They've taken over affirmative action now. All of these laws we fought for, they didn't fight for anything, but they are reaping the
But I
benefits.
think I think
And they're too arrogant to say, thank you, black folks, because this is how they've gotten where they are.
well, no, they see black people as an underclass, but all of these issues that you're bringing up are true. And one of the reasons that this organization has was established is because we have to start focusing on us and what we're going to do. What are we going to do to resolve this issue? You know, we everything that you're saying is true. Everything that these people are doing are true. But what are we doing and what are we not doing? We're not organizing at the grassroots level like we should. That needs to change. We're not coming together at a city level, at a state level, at the congressional level. That has to change. There are some things that we're going to have to do, or otherwise everything that you said is going to continue, because these people are looking out for their community, for their children, for their well-being, for their generational wealth. And we seem to be more individualistic. We have got to
Well,
start thinking more collectively, and that's how places like Tulsa, Oklahoma was able to thrive the way it did, because you had a community of people that were working together.
it reminds me of a statement that Harry Belafonte made. I guess this was about 4 years ago. I remember him saying that we're going to have to do something real radical. And that radicalism, in my opinion, doesn't only just protesting by getting out on the streets demonstrating. I think all of that's important too. But the most radical thing that black people could do today is start loving themselves and start spending their money with their own. That is one of the most radical things that we could do today, and that would shake up the country. It would shake up the country. But so we're going to have to do things like that. We're going to have to shake up Chicago, shake up the United States. And you shake them up, because the only thing the United States understand is violence and money. When you start taking that money from them, you get their attention. But we have got to start loving each other. We got to put aside our differences, and it's natural to have differences. People are not going to always get along, but they try to make us think that something is wrong with us because we have our differences. Believe me, white folks have their differences too. The only
But
time white folks really
they
come
don't have their
together,
differences when it comes to spending putting the money together and being in control of the money.
mhm,
You know, they learn how to put those differences aside.
and they come together and they come up with ways and strategies to take our money, and we fall for it. The
Hmm.
Asians, that's I think a $56 million industry. We purchase 50 million of their supplies.
And this
We
isn't
That's
just
how much
happening
money.
to Black people in Chicago, or even
It's
in the
all over the
United
country.
States. This is
It's
happening
all
all
over
over the world to
the, mhm.
Black people, where everybody is going into the Black community and taking over the
that
resources and taking
when
advantage
they
of the
come
other
here,
people.
they tell them where to go to set up a business. You go to the black community. And if you don't believe it, just look around you. They tell them to go to the black community. All of these dollar stores owned by the Asians, and there's not one black dollar store, not one dollar store that is owned by black people in Chicago and any place else in this country. The Asians own all of the dollar stores. The majority of the people who spend their money in these dollar stores are black people because they put them in low income black communities. And they try to sell you everything that they can sell you. You can go there and just about buy everything. But not
I
one
went
black.
to I went to a gas station today, and this is very typical now, especially the gas stations in the suburban areas where you go in. And this gas station that I went in, I was on 167th Street, and it had enough liquor in there to be a liquor store. There were three walls lined with liquor, and not just cheap liquor or small bottles of liquor, just all kinds of liquor lining the walls. This was a gas station. And then there was another section where it was almost like a separate room where they had a smoke shop in there. So you can go in there and buy your cigars. And then they had clothing, the types of clothing that many people wear. I mean, especially our young people today, they wear the sweatpants, they wear the sweatshirts, they wear the caps. They had that. And then there was all the junk food. And then there was another whole wall that was a partition off with about 6 or 7 lottery machines where you could play the lottery. So everything in that gas station was tailored
To
to
the black
the
community.
the the needs and the desires, I'll say, of black people. There you could go in there and get your cigarettes if you need to go get a little food, some milk or juice and a little meat or what. Everything was in that place. And you see this happening over and over and over again. And where they getting the money? They have made, when they first came here, we were always complaining about how unclean the stores were, how bad the food was. And people would say, well, stop shopping in there. But that was the only place that black people had to go to buy food. But these people have made a lot of money now. So now you're starting to see newer developments in terms of the stores that they have. They look a little nicer, but they still have the same items in there. And they've marketed our communities well, and black people are supporting them.
Yeah, they study our buying power. They study what we buy, and they have perfected it. They have absolutely perfected the buying power of how and what black people spend their money on. They have it down to a T, to a T. And the liquor stores, all these liquor stores in our communities. You go to the air stores, this bad food, and as Denise said, the junk that they sell us, the flaming hot potato chips, all this nonsense, bad food. And you wonder why we have hypertension? You wonder why we have diabetes? All of these foods that they're selling of us are killing us. Why do you think they have so many dialysis clinics in the black community? Because
That's right.
they know what we're eating. They know what we're eating. They know what it's going to do to our bodies. So they have perfected that so much until you go through the bad communities. You see, I used to wonder why all these dialysis clinics. I can understand why. We have got to turn this around. And can anybody turn it around for us? If we don't turn it around, if we don't turn it around, what we're doing, we're passing it on to generations of our children, and we're
That's right.
killing them. That is
That's right.
our fault. That is
That's right.
our fault because
And
we
they're
can
not
take.
and they're not only looking at our market and what they feel we want and we desire, but they have created that desire, because this
Absolutely.
is what is available to you. When you expose people to other things, to other foods, to other ideas, you're piquing their interest. And so that's not what's happening. There, I remember when Whole Foods first came to town, a lot of people would come to Whole Foods and maybe they couldn't afford to shop in there, but they would buy some of the things in there. And I would have people approach me in the store and, and express to me that it was expensive, but what kind of things could they buy? I believe if we had a better selection for our people and we offered them something different, that this is not the road that they would necessarily choose, but this is what you're bombarded with. Some of the stores are decorating. They don't have anything in the windows. All of the windows are decorated with the flaming hots and the potato chips and the candy. So when you drive by, that's all you see in the windows. And so that's advertisement. Advertisement is very powerful. The media spends a lot of money. Businesses spend a lot of money on advertisement because the
Yeah.
advertisement and the suggestions that they make have a great impact on people and the way they think and what they desire. And so they're not only putting out here what we're buying, but they're creating this market for us at the same time. And so we need our people to be more innovative and more thoughtful in terms of what would be a healthy Black community. What would a healthier Black community even look like? What kind of grocery stores and places? Um, what kind of grocery stores and places would there be in our communities? What kind of stores could there be? When I used to live on the north side for a period, and or even if you drive down the street, there's so many different types of businesses. Sometimes it's just interesting to go in to see what's in there. And so when the aquatic oasis came to 87th Street, we had them on our show because this was something different from what we typically have. And what is that? Restaurants, barbershops, uh, cleaners, but that's mostly what we tend to open up. And so we now do have more Black people that are getting into the hair and nail and salon industry, but we've always been in the hair care industry. We need to expand our horizons with the businesses and pique that interest of purchasing and getting involved with and using other things. When you
And
come
you
when
know
you come
what?
into when you when I go into a community, especially like maybe some of the suburban communities, it tells me a lot about those people. You go, you see a grocery store, you'll see a hardware store, you'll see a store where they sell jewelry. You'll see a store where they sell cards, greeting cards. You'll see a store where they sell wedding gowns and a wear that you would go to banquets. And that lets me know something about the people that live there, that these are the kind of things that they're getting involved with. They're getting married, they're going to banquets, they're taking care of their homes and they're eating this healthy foods. And so this is a unhealthy environment that our
and
people are living in.
and businesses are the backbone of the community. So we need to ask ourselves, why don't we have more Black businesses in Black communities? Those are conversations that you need to start having with your children. So the next 2 or 3 generation of Black children won't be doing the same things that we're doing now. We're
That's right.
killing ourselves and we are killing future generations. If we had more Black businesses in our community, we could hire more of our young people to give them an opportunity to see what it's like to shop with a black business owner. That's kind of community I came up in. I
Mm-hmm.
did not know what I didn't know what white doctor, a white dentist, white lawyer, white anything was until I came to Chicago. I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi. We had everything in that little segregated community that we
Mm-hmm.
needed. And this
Mm-hmm.
brings me to what Dr. Claude Anderson talks about all the time, having our business, having opening up businesses in our communities. That's how you generate wealth. That's how you pass this on to your children. Right now, what are we passing on to our kids? Why is this not a concern of the black community? I remember years ago when we had a black grocery store here in Chicago. It was called Clean and Fresh over there
Mm-hmm.
at 55th and Wentworth. That was the cleanest. That was the cleanest and the nicest grocery store I had seen. It was better than Jewel's. They had everything in that store that Jewel had in their stores. We did not support that store. These men
Now, why do
sat
you why do you think that's the case, Doris?
because we have been taught. It has been passed down from generation to generation to generation that you do not support your own, that you do love your people, that the white man's ice is colder than the black man's ice. This is generation of white supremacy being embedded in our heads. We
Now,
have not gotten over.
let me ask you a
We haven't
question,
gotten over.
because you came through the civil rights movement, and you came through that period where, like you said, there were only black people providing services in your community because you didn't have a choice. That's what was there. And so where did the breaking point occur
The breaking point came
from your
about
perspective?
the breaking point came about with integration. But what people fail to understand, black people were not looking for integration. We were looking for qualities, the same resources. We wanted the same resources in the black schools that the white schools had in. It was about resources. It was not about having having us sit next to a white kid in order to learn. That's insulting, and that's not what the civil rights movement was all about. The white folks, we allowed the white folks to take over the civil rights movement and then directed it in a way that they wanted to direct it. And before Dr. King died, Dr. King said, he said, I think I have led my people into a burning house, because
That's right.
he started to see the economic impact that the civil rights movement had on the black community.
Right.
In Jackson, Mississippi, I grew up in West Jackson. We had a hotel. We had a boutique shops. The ladies could go shop. We had what we needed. But when we integrated, we started going to the white community. It was never said, now, just because we integrate, we're not saying to you to stop doing business with black people. They didn't
Right.
say it that way. They were not specific. So when integration came about, we started going to the white establishments, and it kept growing and growing and growing until it put black businesses out of businesses. And when those black businesses went out of businesses, those black communities went down today. Jackson, Mississippi has not recovered from the civil rights movement and the impact
And
that the civil rights movement had on us. So it was not about trying to sit on a bus next to white folks. We knew we had the right to sit on that bus, but as you know, in Alabama, it put the black bus line out of business because black
right.
folks stopped patronizing the black buses, and so they went under, like a lot of other black businesses did. They went under, and it's specifically related to integration, and we have not recovered from that. And that's
And
why
so
we
that's
are
a that's
don't have
a
any wealth.
that's a mindset, and that's something
Mindset. Yeah.
that has to begin in the home, wherever you're
Talking
getting the
with the
attention of
children.
black people. That should be a discussion in our
Hmm.
churches. That should be a discussion in our schools as we
Mm-hmm.
talk to our children. Uh, our brother at Black Star Project, Phil Jackson, tried to start a Saturday school. Well, he did have
Right.
a Saturday
Mm-hmm.
school where they were helping the children, giving them tutoring in their schools over the weekend. And we need more ideas like that. And
Well,
as you teaching, and as you're teaching the children the basics in terms of their education, you're also teaching them their history, and you're looking at the mistakes that were made, because there was a mistake that was made in that whole movement in terms of integration. A big mistake was made.
the
And we
biggest
need to look back at those errors that we made to see what we can do in terms of changing the tide. Because we also, in terms of this organization, what I have seen in talking to different businesses is that generational wealth, passing that generational wealth on. As you said, the Asian man, and I believe the brother that owns the laundromat, Brother Muhammad, that was on our show, he talked about
Mhm.
that when he's approached the Asian about purchasing the mall in which his business had the lion's share of in. And he told him, as you said, how dare you? You know, this is for my family, this is for my generational wealth. And are we thinking and speaking in that manner? And I say not enough, because when it comes to businesses, when it comes to property, when the person has created a certain amount of wealth and they pass on or they move on where they can no longer, work that business, how many of our people are keeping those businesses? How many of our people who have children who have the ability to maintain that business and continue that business? Because that's where your generational wealth is.
and you know what we need to do. What I'm a former counselor with the Chicago public school system, and I want us, in fact, I'm pleading with us, black people, black women in particular, because we are the ones who are the nurturers and the teachers in the home, supposedly. But you've got to have a conversation with your children, and you've got to say to them, it is not normal. It is not normal to see everybody selling something in our communities and black people are not there. That something is wrong with that picture. And we must treat this seriously. We cannot pass this on to another generation of black children. It is not normal to have everybody in your community selling you something and you don't see your own there. Because black people cannot go to Hispanics, Mexican communities, Arabs communities, Indian communities, Asian communities, and white communities and set up a business. And because we cannot do that, that says something is wrong. If something is, you keep doing this, you keep supporting everybody but your own, it's saying to you, it should say to you, something is wrong, because they're not patronizing our businesses. We can't put businesses in their communities. This has to be understood clearly. This is racism and white supremacy. And we do not want to talk about racism and white supremacy, but it is destroying us across the board. It's killing us. It's killing our children. Look at the obesity in the black community. Children with type 2 diabetes. Something is wrong with that picture.
And what
We
it is
can do it,
also
and
what
we
is it
have
what
to.
it is also doing is it's keeping us in a space, like you said, this is a capitalist system.
A
So
capitalist
somebody has to be
be
on
at
the
the
bottom.
bottom.
And so it is keeping us in that space of being on the bottom where everybody else comes and feeds, you know, off of having doing business with your community and not having any sense of responsibility or consciousness about giving anything back.
I just, you look around, I'm here in Hyde Park. You get these nail shops all within 2 blocks of each other. And the only people sitting there are black women. Black women, you have a responsibility to our young people to set a to show them something else. We are the role models. We are the mothers and fathers of civilization. We are the teachers and the nurturers. So our children should see us doing something totally different than just all of us going to all of these nail shops. We have nail shops. There are black people with nail shops in this city. They can be
Mhm.
found. You may have to go a few extra blocks. So what? So what? I mean, well, they cost too much. They're too far. We buy what we want and beg for what we need. You've
But
got
we
to develop
do,
a consciousness.
we
We
had
got to
Lux
develop a different consciousness now.
We had Lux Nails on our show that is located on 80 on Stony Island, right off of 83rd and Stony Island. It's a beautiful salon. It's a beautiful nail salon. It's a really nice size nail salon, and they also are selling the hair products. And so we do have some more beauty supply places that are starting to evolve and develop because we used to have our own beauty supply stores. When I grew up on the west side, it was Thelma's on Pulaski. Everybody went to Thelma's. Thelma could not compete with the prices when the Asians came in and started opening up beauty supply stores. And that's something that should not have been allowed to happen. If, like you say, you can't go into another community, or if they let you in the community, you're not going to pour in that community and saturate that community and run those people out of business. I've seen Black people stop in their tracks in situations like that. And so we should not have allowed this to happen. This was allowed to happen. We had politicians, aldermen that saw this happening, and they opened the
It's not.
door and they allowed this to happen. But it's happened, and so we can't continue to complain about that, but we have to look forward and say, how can we improve? And I'm saying one way is to encourage our people to open up different types of
So
businesses,
businesses.
different
Denise, and
types of business, not just the kind that we are accustomed to opening up and creating an interest. When he opened up the Oasis Aquatic Center, people brought their children in there. They were looking. The parents were trying to figure out ways that they could afford to buy the aquariums, and he had beautiful fish in there, and he still does. But we need more businesses, but we need more different types of businesses. So I would say to those that are listening, to think about this, because there's all kinds of businesses that can be opened up. And that's what's going to try to make a change as well, because now the people, when they come out, they have a different experience.
Denise, you and we're very passionate about this business. And we're saying to those business people that we have on our show is that we want to help you. We're going to help you, but we're not going to help you grow for the purpose of you hiring someone other than our people. We're saying to them, as we help you, you must spend 35% of your money with other Black businesses. You must hire
A
Black people,
minimum, a
a
minimum
minimum
of
of
35
minimum of
cents,
35%.
35%.
We're
Mm-hmm.
saying to them, we will we're not helping you so you can go hire some Hispanics, some Mexicans, because
Now, I want to
Hispanics,
say something about that
we're not doing that.
because that is a problem in the construction industry right now. I have hired a number of Black contractors, and the Black contractor is the one that gets the job. The Black contractor is the one that is supposed to manage the job. But every time that happens, they hire Hispanics. Now, they say that they have a problem with workforce. They have a problem with lack of training. They have a problem with ethics, work ethic. They have a problem with, and a lot of the young people don't want to work as hard as what they say, and they say that they don't want to that they feel that they can make more money elsewhere. Because I did have a contractor tell me the other day that he hired a young man to work with him replacing roofs, and after a month the young man came to him and told him, I've been working with you for a month and I have made $2,000. I'm getting ready to go on 74th Street and flip some weed. So, what is he telling him? I can make more money standing out here on the corner selling marijuana than I can in this industry. And so that's how his mind is, that's how he's thinking. But he's not looking at the longevity of having being trained to operate in a trade like plumbing, like an electrician, like a carpenter, being able to put roofs on and install floors and replace walls and windows, learning masonry work. You will always have a job because people have homes and they always need work on those homes. So it's not about making a lot of money, it's about having that money coming in consistently.
But
Because at
that's
some
also,
point you're not going to be able to stand out there and sell that weed. If
and
you're able
all
to,
of, yeah, and
yeah,
all
if
of
you
that
if
is
you're able
by
to stand out
design.
there that long.
And it's by design. It's by design. Because if it were not by design, why did this? Why did the trade schools? Why did they leave Chicago? Plumbers make good money. If I call a plumber into my house today to do any kind of work, just to inspect, it's going to be
Mhm.
$200 for 10 minutes. Plumbing, electrician, carpentry, painters, these people make good money. So if these trades were not paying enough money, why did they take Washburn Trade Center out of Chicago? We got to look at what is happening to us. It
And they
is
not
by
only took
design.
the trade centers out of Chicago, but they took
All of them,
the trade, they took the vocational training out of our
out of
high
school,
schools,
out of the
out of the
schools.
high schools. And
That
CVS High School is one of them because
and
they
that
had
was for
all of that.
the purpose of pushing us to right where we are today, out there hustling some weed, hustling some crack, or hustling some heroin that is killing our children, killing our people. This is how serious this is. And it's time for Black people to get serious or just shut the hell up, because I'm tired of the complaints. Because it is up to us to turn this around. We have the money to turn it around. We have the skills. And I'm tired of people talking about Black people are lazy. Hell no.
That's
Hell
right.
no, black people are not lazy. And we're buying into this stuff. I don't have a problem finding somebody black to do something for me. Are all black people doing exactly what they're supposed to do? No, but nobody else does either. So you got to stop people from dropping that bull on us. We're not lazy. We come from a race of people who built this damn country. And
If you look
if
at
somebody
all of
tells you
the,
that again,
and
no,
if you
Denise, if
look at
somebody
all
says
of
to
the,
you again, if someone
and if,
says that black people are lazy again to you, tell them that maybe it's big, maybe it's in their DNA because you worked the hell out of their ancestors. But stop saying that. Stop falling for that. We're not lazy. They're just not hiring us anymore. The Mexicans and these other people are the new niggas on the block, but they're going to be rich. They're making money to take care of their families. They're making money to pass on down to their children. And I'm going to say this before I go. A couple of years ago, they did a study in Boston, Massachusetts, of the wealth of black people
mhm,
in Boston. The average wealth of black people in Boston, Massachusetts, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, was $8. White folks, $171,000. Something is wrong with that picture. And we got to pick that picture up and back together piece by piece because that's where we are. I've accepted the fact that it will not happen in my lifetime, but I would like to see it get started. And some people are doing that already, but not just enough. Not enough, rather. We've got that $1.3 trillion. Take it away from these other people. Find you a black salon. Find you a black nail shop. If they can, if we patronize them, then they can open up another one and another one and another one. And the same applies to everything we need as human beings to function in this world. We can do it. And we have to do it. We have no choice. We have to do it for our children.
well, the reason that we have this podcast is because we have so many wonderful black businesses out here. But you have people are not getting out. They're going to, we become creatures of habit. We go to the same store to buy our food. We go to the same store to buy our clothes. We walk right past businesses in our community. One of our guests at Gone Again Travel, she has a trolley in the Austin community, and she takes people to different businesses once a month and to visit different restaurants so people can understand and become more aware of the fact that you do have a lot of businesses in your community. And if it's not being advertised, if it's not being talked about, then a lot of people are not thinking independently enough to go out and do this. We've become dependent on the media to tell us where to go, what to do, what to wear, how to do it, as opposed to thinking more independently. Just go
Well,
for a walk in your neighborhood. There are lots of black businesses that you would be surprised that you have. And so we're making a sacrifice here at Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities to bring these businesses to you. We were planning to have Brother Yoel on tonight at the Underground Bookstore. We used to have 24 bookstores, black owned bookstores in Chicago. Now we have three and one more possibly coming up in Roseland called the Rose Cafe. So as soon as we find out that they're open, we will have them on our show. But we
well, we
need
have
to
about
be supporting these businesses.
Denise, we have about a minute left, so I'm going to ask black women, take your child to a black business owner at least once a week to
Mm-hmm.
get them in the habit of shopping with their own, showing them the importance of shopping with their own, showing
Mm-hmm.
them the importance of of turning around this dollar away from everyone else and back to Black business owners that are in their communities. We are financing Repair, Restore, and Grow Black communities by ourselves. We have not gotten the kind of money that we anticipated on getting it. It will come eventually, but right now we are financing Repair, Restore, and Grow Black communities. So we ask you tonight, those of you who are listening to the program, to donate $5, $10, $15, whatever amount you can, so that we can keep this going. This is our second year now. Our second year, we intend to institutionalize this. We want this to continue because we're going to be bringing on young people to replace us because this is so necessary. So I just want to say thank you for listening to us tonight. And we're going to do this again. This is not going to be the only time that we have a discussion like this. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
And I want to announce the winner of our book giveaway. This month, our bookstore of the month was Underground Bookstore. And the book that we're giving away is The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. And our winner is Clarence Davidson. So, Clarence, congratulations. We will be sending you an email to get your address, and we will send the book to you free of charge. And that is our way of supporting our Black bookstores. It is our way of getting literature out here into the hands of our people to start reading and reading about who we are, the people that we are. We really are a great people. We are, when you look at us and all of the accomplishments that we have made in so many areas, in sports, we have broken records, Simone Biles, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. I mean, we can just go on and on. We have created so many things in this country in terms of mechanical equipments that we use in the medical field, our ideas. We are really a great people, but it is
And all
time
of
for us to come together. It is time for
and,
us to come together collectively.
and
And so,
all of this came from the Nile Valley civilization. We gave
okay.
the world what it is today. So again, we thank
And
you and thank you.
okay. So yeah, so we will be back next week. Hopefully, Brother Sane will be able to be with us next week, and we will choose another time for Brother Yoel. He, like I said, he had a problem with his computer, so hopefully he will get that straightened out because we do want to hear the message that he has to give us regarding our bookstores and lots of other information. And so we want to thank you for coming tonight and have a good evening.